It's now 9:30 my time, and Daredevil Born Again has just premiered on Disney Plus. Got 2 episodes to watch. I'm about to watch it. Haven't seen anything. Been trying to avoid spoilers. I have some ideas. I'm cautiously optimistic. Daredevil, the TV series, is a phenomenal show, and I hope they haven't screwed this up. I hope they righted the ship. Oh, God. All right. Just going to watch it, and then after I'm done, I'm going to give just a quick first reaction, general opinion overall of Disney Marvel's version of Daredevil.
It's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again.
To believe in retribution.
Okay, I just finished both episodes. Credit for actually being actual full-length episodes. The first one was almost an hour. All right, a little less with credits. Same thing with the second one. It was 40-something odd minutes. Good job on actually having full episodes. Mixed reaction. All right, the first episode I enjoyed. But they did it. I knew they were going to do it. They killed Foggy. There's a lot of hints about who's going to be killed. Obviously, something had to change Daredevil, make him leave being Daredevil, give Matt pause, rethink his life. Yeah. So no Foggy. Yeah. And that's it probably for Karen. She was in for the first episode. That was it. The Foggy is killed by Bullseye. It's a decent fight scene. I don't think it's at the level of Netflix. I felt they did a little bit of trickery. They were long distance shots. It seemed like, fighting from the distance as opposed to the more close up and intimate fight scenes we got in the Netflix series. There are times there's a lot of smoke, literally closing doors. I'm not certain what was happening. But it was decent action. It was some ridiculous injuries going on. Matt looked like a freaking pincushion at one point. So Foggy is shot and is killed, and in his final showdown with Bullseye, he throws him off the roof, and you think it would kill him, and it doesn't. A cop finds him up on the roof, and he's taking his mask off, and this cop's name is Cherry. It's all they were all at a retirement party for this cop named Cherry, who Matt knew, and this plays in later on because the show picks up a year afterwards. Karen has left. She's living in San Francisco. Matt has started a new firm with a former DA who Foggy was flirting with on the night he was killed. The cop who saw Matt's face as Daredevil is now working for him. Yeah, so that's sort of that. Kingpin comes back. We see that Vanessa's been running the whole business, so she's Queenpin. And I'm not certain how I feel about Thin Pin. He looks bulky, but doesn't look like Kingpin, at least not like he did in Daredevil. No problem with D'Onofrio acting. I mean, I love the mannerism and everything. Both him and Charlie Cox know their characters well. We have a really good scene. I'm not going to say great scene with him and Matt having a conversation at the diner. A lot of people said it's evocative of Heat, where Pacino and De Niro are having their conversation. It is that sort of thing, just sort of squaring off on each other. It's a good scene. They talk a lot about vigilantes. It's interesting because they only talk about Matt Murdock. We get some hints about White Tiger, another vigilante in the city, but there's another one who's not mentioned. Someone who we know should be mentioned if you're in the MCU. Guy, he's a friendly neighborhood type of guy. Not mentioned in this episode. So Fisk decides to run for mayor, and he wins. And in my opinion, they're kind of painting him as a Trumpian-like character. He's got a very populist movement. It's okay. It's okay. We see there's another character who's named BB Urich from the BB report. Turns out we learn later on that she's Ben Urich's niece. I'm sorry, I'm going over my notes. It, I really get the sense with like they're trying to paint Fisk as Trump, which annoys me. I'm like, keep this stuff out of the comic books. Yeah, I know Fisk ran for mayor, and I know he has, a criminal past, and whatever you think about Trump, but there's a significant difference. Whatever you think Trump has been convicted of, wait for that appeal, and what Fisk we've seen him do, literally crush a guy's head with a door, and someone even mentions that. So Fisk is running on no vigilantes policy. We see Fisk and Vanessa have, some marital problems, obviously going back to when he got convicted. I'm very glad to see Ailette Ayer, I think that's her name. She played Vanessa in the original show. She came back. I thought it was a good episode. We again introduced to someone who's, I forgot her name. She is a friend of Matt's partner McDuffie. And she's going to be his love interest. What the heck was her name? Let me see here. Hold on one second. What's her name? Heather Glenn. She's a therapist. So we're getting like a little bit of Matt's love life. I think overall the first episode was good. It was a good reintroduction for the characters. Fisk, of course, wins. Matt is on a date with Heather, and is very upset about it. It's a weird ending, actually. The tone is very different. There's a weird like musical sequence, and I don't mean musical singing. It's some music overlaying the scene with Matt and Fisk just visually being seen. Fisk overlooking the city. Matt dealing with Fisk winning. It feels different than the Netflix show. That's what I took away from it. But overall, the first episode was okay. The second episode is really where I saw that this is more where it was what was originally being crafted, what was originally being done. Because he's not in costume at all in this. This is all legal drama, which I don't need to see legal drama. I deal with that every damn day. We get beginning scene talking about a guy running around with a skull on his chest. There's a Punisher callback. They also talk about, guy with the devil horns. That's Daredevil. And they actually say a guy dressed in a spider outfit. So they're identifying, honestly, the three main vigilantes known in Marvel Comics, not the MCU, Marvel Comics, Marvel Comics New York Vigilantes. So at least that's the MCU connection. We get introduced to Hector Ayala, who's White Tiger in the comics, playing White Tiger here. He's another vigilante. He gets charged with killing a cop because he interrupts what appears to be cops beating up some guy, and a cop gets killed when he tries to defend the guy, gets thrown in front of a subway with some very bad CGI. This whole episode is a lot of legal filler. There's a scene where they're talking about, Matt taking on the case of Hector pro bono, and he's going to have to balance it against his deposition schedule. I mean, shit, do I want to go look at my own personal calendar? Well, I don't want to hear about this. I don't. We also have Michael Gandolfini, James Gandolfini's son, of course, James Gandolfini from Sopranos. He's playing one of the aides to Fisk. He's a younger guy. He's very keyed in on social media and everything. He's trying to be an up-and-comer. I think he's going to end up being like a protege. The second episode, Cherry literally finds White Tiger's outfit in a box under his bed. That's some bad writing, or just like bad hiding your secret identity. It's not well done. And then I wrote this down. There's actually a scene where Matt and the DA are in front of the judge because somehow everyone now knows that Hector Ayala is White Tiger and Matt is filing a motion in limine, which is basically a motion prior to any trial proceedings to keep something out. He's trying to limit out any connection between White Tiger and Hector Ayala because that would be extremely prejudicial. It's a proper argument, but the problem for me is literally the argument is he wasn't even in possession of his mystical amulet. I'm trying to fathom that as a legal argument. Regardless, in the end, Matt tracks down the guy who was being beat up by the cops and he gets him to safety, but the cops show up. The guy's gone. Matt's there and he confronts the cops, and the cops are giving him a beat down. And then Matt goes back to being Daredevil, and I think he kills 2 cops. Yeah. So the second episode, not so much for me. First episode I enjoyed. Second episode, not so much. I'm going to have to do a more detailed review, focus more on it. I think there's a lot in here that's going to be good, but I can definitely see why the change was made, why they stopped with the way they were going. Because I am not watching a superhero show to watch a legal procedural. I can just go to work every day and do that. I want to see a superhero being a superhero. So it's a decent start. It's not on the level of the Netflix yet. It could get better. I heard possibly it gets better again. They scrapped things going through. So still cautious optimism. Not in love. Not entirely disappointed. Just hopeful that they make the correction in the next episode or 2. So that was my quick first reaction. Like I say, I'm going to do a more detailed review because I fully intend to be more critical of this show and focusing on what should be a really good show based on the history of these characters and what has been done before. So questions, comments, witticisms down below. Click all those good buttons and I'll see you guys next time.